Hello everyone and welcome back to round 2 of our F1 Manager 23 career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here in Saudi Arabia, and yeah, a bit of an apology as to why there was a bit of delay from the first episode. Of course, I've been reading through all of your comments and apparently Alfa Romeo are really bad inside this game. If you missed out on the video that went live towards the end of last week, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Of course, F1 Manager, like I said, is going to be, you know, a bit of a supplementary series here on the channel, and I know I'm going to get questions. My team will be going live later on this afternoon, so don't you worry about that as well. But yeah, we're back though, this time around here at the Jeddah Corniche. So far, not looking fantastic. 10th place overall in the Constructors' Championship. I've been informed by many of you that Zhou Guanyu apparently has a bit of a disaster on this game, and the Alfa Romeo car is even worse than the game originally leaves it to believe. So it looks like we've got quite a long-term project here at Alfa Romeo, but if that sounds good to you, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed, leave a like as well if you're going to enjoy the video. Closing in slowly but surely on 120,000 subscribers at the moment. But as we head though towards this weekend, car inspection, I mean, we had no issues with the car after the opening weekend, so everything appears to have passed inspection, which is always good. And the team hub also, that upgrade has been completed as well there, so we've got a slightly better you know, areas there. You can see the weekly development is up, the morale is up, and the team attractiveness as well is up there. So hopefully, you know, in the future, if we need to try and poach some different drivers, then we can do that as well. Of course, we've still got those car developments going on at the moment. Those are hopefully going to be ready before the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in 11 days time. So we're going to slowly start simming forward then. As you can see, there we go, the design has been completed, so we need 2 of those onto the car as soon as possible. Where have we gone? So we need, yeah, there we go, so 2 of those we need. They're going to take 16 days though to build. I can try and hurry that process up. So we should be able to get 1 on the first car for Valtteri Bottas ready for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix this weekend. And then, of course, we need our other upgrade as well, the underfloor, which should be done in the near future. So, yeah, plenty going on at the moment. There we go, the chassis design has been sorted. So we need 2 of those. And yeah, we go. That is not going to go on the car ready for Jeddah this weekend. It might be ready for Sunday, but I'm not going to hold my breath all too much on that one there as we continue to sim forward. Then the race simulator upgrade has also been completed, and Miguel Baltazar is now 69 rated as well, so things you love to see. Race simulator, there we go, that's all done. So we're just getting emails for the same thing we already knew, and now we can go in and do more of the where are we looking for? The underfloor, wasn't it? And I can't even do that at the moment because we're waiting for those other parts to be manufactured as well then. So yeah, got plenty to do though as we head in towards Saudi Arabia. Obviously, car is not still looking fantastic, but we'll keep trying, we'll keep improving. Like I said, I'm really going to try and put a focus on doing big upgrades on the car in F1 Manager 23. Rather than doing lots of small ones, we just want a few big ones on this game there. So you can see the manufacturing for the suspension should be complete on Valtteri Bottas's car. So if we have a look there, we should be able to swap those out. We've actually got 2 of them there, so we can put them on both cars ready for the weekend. So hopefully a little bit of a performance boost. But anyway, let's get into it though. Saudi Arabian Grand Prix time.
We're here in Jeddah, where the tension is boiling as we head into the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The circuit at Jeddah, spread along streets that run next to the Red Sea, is one of Formula One's highest speed tracks. It's a test of skill from start to finish, with cars just millimetres from the walls. The Jeddah street circuit has one of the fastest average speeds, as well as the most corners of any track on the calendar. Good high-speed downforce is going to make life in the fast lane a little easier for drivers here this weekend. The previous Grand Prix saw Sergio Perez pass the checkered flag in first place. There's no doubt that the Mexican will be eyeing up his next podium finish. So, let's get back to the racing.
Right, well, I love those little intros then. Clearly, you know, a bit more sort of realistic, real-to-life there from Crofty, of course, talking about Checo Perez's win last weekend. Of course, Jeddah, as always, it's looking like a pretty dry weekend. But yeah, it's going to be all about low downforce and high top speeds there. So hopefully we're going to be able to try and get the car where we want it. And I think, yeah, we'll try some different concepts once again and get ready to head out onto the track. I will hand it to them as well. I still do think the Alfa Romeo is quite a good looking car inside, well, F1 Manager 23 and real life. Wasn't particularly big on the kick streaming one they did for Belgium last weekend, but you know, I can kind of see obviously why they did the way they did it there. But yeah, fingers crossed though, of course, just like last weekend, free practice actually went quite smoothly. We were able to get the car where we wanted it very, very quickly. It's just not a quick car at the moment, so fingers crossed this weekend we can try and have a bit of a better turnaround, try and get a bit closer towards the rest of the field there. You know, the fact that we were really just beefing it out with Nick de Vries and Logan Sargent was not particularly great. But nice as well, obviously, to see all the track changes to Jeddah being implemented in the game as well. There obviously the walls have been moved back in plenty of different areas as well. But yeah, well, we're going to try and just work things out, and hopefully we can try and get a good free practice under our belt. Of course, the other big thing we've got to be really, really careful of is that neither of the drivers run into any issues throughout this free practice session. Of course, if we rip up that new suspension, we are in a world of hurt ready for the rest of the weekend. So, looks like immediately the pace is looking okay. Lance Stroll, they're a second clear at the front. But yeah, most cars obviously still out on hard tyres. I am also trying to read into things 7 minutes into FP1, so I'm going to remind myself to calm down and just focus on the bigger picture. Virtual safety car, someone's had issues. Hopefully it's not one of our cars that's gone off. Don't know who's had issues. Big shunt for someone, apparently. Okay, can we see? So it was Nick de Vries then. That's not particularly surprising. Let's have a look then. What has Nick de Vries done? Clearly Zhou Guanyu. We're not going to get a look at what Nick de Vries has done, apparently. Great. Thanks, F1 Manager. I get why on this game they just put VSCs out in free practice, but it probably would make more sense if the red flags came out whenever there was an incident like that, because if I'm not mistaken, you never, ever get a virtual safety car in free practice in the world of Formula 1, but I guess it is what it is. But yeah, at the moment though, we're quicker than Sergio Perez, which is good, and Esteban Ocon. But no quicker than... Sorry, we're not quicker than Esteban Ocon, but we still seem to be right at the rear of the field. But, that being said, Zhou Guanyu just made a bit of a pace improvement up to P14. Like I said, as long as we don't fall off the back of the field, that would be the worst thing to do early on this season. But hopefully in just a moment, both drivers on 4 out of 5 in terms of the setup feedback. So hopefully we're going to get some intel. Okay, and that intel is not fantastic. Zhou Guanyu not too happy with the car, so we will bring him into the pit lane immediately. Bottas, for whatever reason, needs more time inside F1 Manager. You know, you would have thought a driver with 10 years of experience would be pretty good at getting his cars set up there, or at least being able to provide quick feedback on how the car feels. But Valtteri Bottas, though, have been very, very cautious so far this season, so hopefully we'll get some info from him then as Zhou Guanyu drives himself into the pit lane. Fair play to him. So, in terms there then, so we're actually not running enough wing, which is rather surprising. Can I just bring the car to where I want it? We might struggle a little bit, as yeah, it's braking stability we're really struggling with. We'll try that, and we'll see if he's much happier. Valtteri Bottas felt the car was undrivable by the time he made it back into the pit lane, so we'll, yeah, definitely make some tweaks as well for him. Needs some very, very different tweaks. So he's not a fan of the oversteer. He wants a massively oversteery car, which is rather brave, I won't lie. But I guess it is what it is. We'll try and work it out for him. Let's go like that. Both cars then back out onto the circuit. Just over half hour left here of FP1. We've got Yuki Tsunoda piling on the pressure. But yeah, Nick de Vries though, like I said, still have no idea what he managed to do there very, very early on in FP1, but clearly it was such a big shunt that Zhou Guanyu was scared for him. But yeah, hopefully we're going to just continue to gather more data up, make sure both drivers are confident with the track and the setup, and go from there. Zhou Guanyu still not happy with where the car is at the moment, so we're going to have to bring him once again back into the pit lane. I mean, I think like we're slowly getting there, but yeah, Zhou's still not happy as Valtteri Bottas a tenth away from him. Still, yeah, waiting on that feedback from Valtteri once more, but yeah, this is not quite as plain sailing as Bahrain was. Let's take a look then. Where are we in terms of Zhou Guanyu's car? So brake stability is still not where he wants it. So we'll try and make some tweaks there. But how can I get it where he wants it? This is really, really difficult. There we go. Bottas at least is a bit happier with the car now, so the car feels pretty good for Valtteri. I've again made more and more tweaks to Zhou Guanyu. I'm quite a fan of sort of like the puzzle you get inside F1 Manager there. Whereas, yeah, Bottas now up to P16 quicker than George Russell. I mean, George has gone out on a set soft, so he should absolutely obliterate us. But yeah, Haas looking fast as well here very, very early on. But hopefully we can try and gather some of this data from Bottas and maybe give it to Zhou Guanyu. And well, both drivers then pretty much where we can get them to as another virtual safety car out then right towards the end of free practice 1 here. Just over 10 minutes left on the clock. Kevin Magnussen has binned it down at turn 13 apparently. Oh, he's right behind his teammate. Don't do this, Haas, literally just after I've spoke about how good you are. Nope, he is the car in front. Big lock up there. And Magnussen out, and I'm sure Haas not too happy. It seems like every season they come here, they get one nice big write-off of one of their cars. But that's going to be, I think, yeah, Magnussen out of free practice. But hopefully we can get this virtual safety car put away so both of our drivers can get their last few laps in. Well, I want to say it's been a fairly successful free practice session here. We're still a long way away from the likes of Williams and Lando Norris, but they have all done lap times on a set of these soft compound tyres. Plenty of laps, though, here in free practice. You can see more laps than anyone else, so we're clearly trying to gather up as much data as we possibly can early on in the campaign. But yeah, feel like those last setup tweaks though really have got us into a good, decent operating window, but not expecting any heroics as we move into qualifying.
Will practice pay off for the drivers? Well, we're about to find out in qualifying.
Jeddah's high-speed street circuit is rather prone to yellow and red flags during qualifying, as drivers and walls often meet. Strategists will be looking for the perfect gap, but need to make sure drivers get their lap in.
Now, Karun, you and I were actually just talking about that man there, Max Verstappen. How do you think he'll be feeling today?
They were looking pretty sharp in practice and setting good lap times, so they're probably feeling fairly confident now. But a good practice time doesn't always guarantee a strong qualifying outcome.
Well, it's almost here. Qualifying coming up soon.
Well, there we go. That Karun Chandok clearly making himself chuckle there with the idea that a good practice time does not definitely guarantee you good qualifying pace. Oh, he does like to have a giggle, doesn't he, Karun? They're very, very funny man. But anyway, Bottas 83% car setup confidence. Zhou Guanyu 95%. Look at that. We've smashed that out of the park with Zhou Guanyu. I don't really think I can make any tweaks that I want to risk upsetting the balance there. Valtteri, he's not too happy. He's got too much braking stability. But the straight line speed and the traction both seem optimal, and the oversteer there is pretty much where he would want it as well. No, I'm not. Do I gamble it? No, let's. No. We're gonna leave it exactly where it is at the moment there. So anyway, jumping out then into qualifying. Like I said, not really expecting us to make it out of Q1, being completely honest, but you never know. Well, I've got to get back in the driver's eye here. Bottas, please don't do any weaving, though I cannot cope with the dizziness. To make our way in through the final corner. Let's go for a lap then here around the Jeddah Corniche, riding on board with Valtteri Bottas. Hopefully we're going to be able to get some telemetry up as well from the Flying Finn. Haven't got anything. Where do I go? There we go. Telemetry. There we go. Down in towards turn 1 then. Third gear then on the entry. Leaves it in third gear actually through the second part there. Slowest apex speed of just over 50 miles an hour. We can see there are a couple of cars that have come towards the end of their lap. Zhou Guanyu just being warned there to try and weave your way. I mean, look at this. It's so cool, the helmet cam in this game there. Driver's eye moving around there. He's got to avoid that curb on the outside. A little bit of a dip actually through the final of the right-handers there. So got to be very, very careful of that, as hopefully that Mercedes is going to get out of the way. George Russell They're blocking us just a little bit as we make our way down through the banked turn 12. Make sure you don't run over the white line on the exit. Very, very easy to do now. The fact there is that room, as you can see, making our way, though, out on towards the back straight. Valtteri Bottas giving it everything he's got at the moment, getting very, very close to the wall there as we head out. But I mean, this just goes to show how dangerous this track is. People obviously go on about visibility around other venues. There's got an Aston Martin in the way. If that isn't Lance Stroll, I'm very, very surprised there, but down the inside will go of them as well. Don't think either of those two cars have held us up too badly as we make our way in towards the final couple of corners here. We'll compare the split times between Valtteri and Joe. You can see, I think, Valtteri actually, 3/10 up in Sector 1. But as we come out the final corner then, where is the flying thing going to be able to put himself around the Williams, I hope? Unless he will, he'll go half a tenth clear of Sargent. That's not great. Not really well. I was hoping we'd be a lot closer to Albon than we were to Sargent there. But Zhou Guanyu in towards the final couple of corners. He was 3/10 down in Sector 1. He's found all that time back up, though, as we round our way in towards the final corner here. Are we going to see Zhou Guanyu put himself quicker than Valtteri Bottas early on here in Q1? Up towards the line it is going to be. Yep, P5 there, half-tenth clear of Valtteri Bottas, so good lap time there by Zhou. Well, just over a minute left then on the clock. Zhou Guanyu here in P15, so we might just about be able to sneak ourselves into Q2 with one of our cars. I mean, Oscar Piastri is only half a tenth in front, so maybe we could try and see if we can get both cars into Q2 there, if we can find a bit of an improvement, as Lando Norris maybe have blocked him right at the end of his lap as well there as we head out over the start-finish line. Then Bottas has already started his lap. Lando Norris will go up then into P14, so that's the time we need to try and chase them. We need 3 more tenths from both of our drivers here ready on their final runs, and yeah, we are going to stay with the quicker car so far of Joe. Sergio Perez fastest on the 28.5 at the moment. Max Verstappen half a second away down in P6 there, but Fernando Alonso running beautifully up in P2 as Bottas improves again in Sector 1 there. I think he's found another half a tenth or so. Are we going to see Zhou Guanyu match him? Zhou Guanyu there is going to do, he's again another half-tenth up, so he's been a lot slower through Sector 1, but finding time in Sector 2 and Sector 3 as the session has gone on. But are we going to be able to see both cars find even more there? As you can see, everyone else pretty much has come to the end of their laps. I think that's one of the Alfa Towers, though, blocking us slightly, so hopefully that's not going to compromise us all too much. Bottas again, further improvements in Sector 2. Where is the Flying Finn going to be able to go? But are we going to see Zhou Guanyu matching him again there as we get towards the end of Sector 2? He's down on time at 28.1. Goes up against a 28.0 there, so Zhou Guanyu is about 4 tenths behind at the moment. Could it be Bottas that ruins the party right towards the end of the session here, up towards the start-finish line? Are we going to see Bottas make it through and into Q2? He only needs a tenth, and he's going to find that tenth, and a whole lot more there. Up into P14 he'll go. Zhou Guanyu, what can he do as he heads up towards the line? He was about 4 tenths behind at the moment, so it might only be good enough for P16. And he doesn't even do that then. No improvement for Zhou Guanyu. But Bottas, for the first time this season, has got one of our cars into Q2 there. Things you love to see. Well, I'm not really expecting much at all here as we head into Q2 with Valtteri Bottas. Anything higher than P15, I think, is going to be a bit of an advantage there. We're actually touch up behind Max Verstappen in the Red Bull as we get ready to start our lap, so maybe we can try and use him for some slipstream here. But yeah, Valtteri Bottas, though, as we head across the start-finish line. Hopefully that Ferrari of Charles Leclerc is going to stay out of the way as we make ourselves down into Turn 1. No, he's not. Charles Leclerc there immediately blocking on our first lap, so that might leave us in a bit of trouble as we've got a Mercedes as well there. Are they going to do any better job of it? No. Our former teammate Lewis Hamilton would also get in the way. Bottas, though, down in towards the final corner. We can see visibly on the map how much time he's lost to Max Verstappen here. Some of that by virtue of the blocking, some of that by virtue of the fact that it is Max Verstappen in a Red Bull car. There is the Dutchman up above the line. He will go fastest early on, but Bottas, P9, that's better than I was expecting it to be. Quicker than Albon and Nico Hülkenberg. Maybe we have got a fight. Right, well, I've really tried to make an effort on making sure that Valtteri Bottas has got free track space here as he heads out onto his final run. Norris and Albon still slower than us at the moment. I think sensibly those are the two cars that we might actually be able to beat here, as Haas there, identical times by them. Nico Hülkenberg right on the cusp, but another 7 tenths. Not convinced we'll be able to find that here in the final runs. But anyway, Valtteri Bottas, though, like I said, I'm very, very happy that we made it into Q2 for the first time this season, so clearly have still got some pace over the likes of our rookies, our Alfa Tauris, our Williams cars as well there. So, you know, the experienced Flying Finn always was very, very good at qualifying in his Mercedes days. Of course, made it into Q3 for 100 consecutive races. And you can see there, Sector 1, he's actually down ever so slightly there. But I thought a 33-1 was actually very, very competitive by Valtteri so far this weekend there. Can I put him... I think, no, we're not going to mess around with anything like that. I think he's already on maximum fuel use, everything as well, as we see other cars starting to head up towards the start-finish line, though. Are we going to see Norris and Albon improve? Not really sure why we need to tell him about the checkered flag there. Let's see what split time is going to be at the end of Sector 2, 28.1 as well. So it's not been the perfect lap so far by Valtteri Bottas. Max Verstappen will stay fastest there, a quarter of a second ahead of Charles Leclerc. Alonso and Sainz looks like they both made it through clean and tidy ahead of George Russell there. Hamilton a little bit closer to the cusp than I'm sure he would want. 1.1 seconds off the pace there, slower than Sir Lance, but we're really only worried about what Valtteri Bottas is able to do as he rounds out of the final corner up towards the start-finish line. Albon unable to improve. We also are unable to improve there, so it looks like track conditions really haven't got any better as Norris... yeah, he's not on a lap either, so it's P13 then on the grid, ready for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I am rather happy with that.
Well, there's nothing quite like it. Welcome along to race day.
Jeddah street circuit certainly makes the high speeds of F1 racing a thrilling affair. But even a world champion can be caught out in between the narrow walls, just as Max Verstappen found out in 2021. The sky tonight is mostly clear, with only a few clouds. Nothing to worry about for now, but let's see how the situation unfolds.
Well, the streets of Jeddah are abuzz, and the teams are nearly ready for the start of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Right, here we are then, ready for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here in Jeddah. Race night, 50 laps ahead of us. It is going to be a very, very interesting Grand Prix worth of action. One-stop strategy, though, seems to be the way to go, so I'm not going to try and do too many big risks there. You know, this is the perfect opportunity for a safety car around this venue. I am, though, going to put extra fuel into the cars. We're going to brim the tanks of both cars here, so we've got a bit of extra push fuel if needed throughout the Grand Prix. But, yeah, P13 and P18, though, on the grid. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how we get on here tonight. But just want to keep it clean and tidy, get both cars to the flag, and just see what happens.
The drivers are lined up on the grid here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit, preparing for 50 flat-out laps under the lights. A lot of people will be keen to see just how Zhou Guanyu will fare today.
What can they manage from 18? It'll be interesting to see, that's for sure.
And the time has come. Let's go racing. It's almost time for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
Well, there we go. Looks like a good clean start by just about everybody there, as we're going to be focused on Valtteri Bottas as we head down in towards turn 1. Lando Norris looks to be trying to hold back slightly there, so we'll have a look around the outside of Pierre Gasly. Go on, Bottas, make a place up off the start. Yes, he has. Fantastic there by Valtteri. Nope, Gasly's going to come straight back at him. That Alpine much, much quicker apparently down the straights, and all those highs lasted for about 3 seconds at the start of the GP there. Perez, though, leading the way ahead of Charles Leclerc there. Max Verstappen losing a spot down into P3, so maybe Charlie Boy can really try to frustrate Red Bull over the course of the GP tonight. Carlos Sainz in P4 ahead of both Aston Martins there. Hamilton up to 7th ahead of Ocon and Russell, with Magnussen and Hulkenberg rounding out our top 10. But yeah, good clean tidy start then by a lot of drivers here. Charles Leclerc really is trying to go for it off of the start. Lando Norris applying pressure to Valtteri as well there. Zhou Guanyu still just ahead of both of those Alfa Tauris. But immediately I'm going to try and start using a little bit of that extra fuel here nice and early on in the day. We need to try and make sure that we stay in the DRS range of those cars ahead of us, as we've got Lando Norris trying to look around the outside. Lando Norris around the outside on lap 1 there. Bottas has been absolutely mugged off, but hats off to him. Lando Norris, a beautiful move there to make that work. And up into P13 he will go. But yeah, Lando, balls of steel. There's no other way of describing it there, as now we've got Alex Albon trying to size and move down the inside as well. And, well, this is just real-life Valtteri Bottas, isn't it? Losing places, not having the confidence to fight wheel-to-wheel. One of the cars there is Charles Leclerc has now taken the lead of the Grand Prix by the end of lap 1. Bottas down to P15, so hopefully we're not going to get stuck battling with just the Alfa Tauris here. It's 3 wide at the rear of the field. Zhou Guanyu will just about defend from Tsunoda and Nick de Vries. But yeah, Bottas clearly struggling. He's lost another place to Logan Sargent early on. Tyre strategy, though, looks like it's quite a decent split between mediums and soft compound tyres. No one really wants to start on the hards, but Bottas, after all those qualifying heroics, is basically back to where we were expecting him to be, and that is way, way outside of the top 10 there, and even behind some Williams cars. DRS, though, has now been enabled, and I can't help but worry that we're going to be under some pressure from Oscar Piastri as well then in this race. If we're already losing spots thick and fast, how many more are we potentially going to lose there? As Oscar Piastri, exactly the same move as Lando Norris. This time around, though, we have got the fact he's on soft compound tyres to provide a bit of sympathy. But, yeah, Nick de Vries as well, moving past Zhou Guanyu. So we are just losing places left, right and centre here at the start of the race. Bottas down to P17 now. Zhou Guanyu into P19 at the start here. But, yeah, what we meant to do early on, lap 4 of 50, I think we've just got to try and stay in the DRS of the cars in front of us. Oh, we got a safety car. Someone's binned it. Who has gone? I think it's Logan Sargent. No, apparently Sargent. Oh, Hamilton. One of the Aston Martins have had issues. What on earth has gone on here then? So Lewis Hamilton applying pressure to Lance Stroll. And Hamilton, they both hit the wall. Sorry, Stroll's hit the wall there. Hamilton's had to sneak round him. So Stroll there, very, very big error early on. Hamilton was lucky that didn't completely ruin his car. But Stroll out then, I would assume. Yep, there we go. That's Stroll out of the Grand Prix. And we've already got a safety car then here in Jeddah. Is it worth us? I mean, we may as well gamble it, might we? Let's box onto a set of hard compound tyres at the end of this lap with both drivers. See how long we can go into the race. But yeah, very, very scary incident there for Lance Stroll. Hamilton as well, I'm assuming, is going to have to pit. Yeah, looks like he's lost his end plates, but front runners obviously all still unaffected by that. Are we going to see anyone else into the pit lane? Perez is not going to dive it in. None of our front runners are. So Hamilton, I assume, is going to have to. Yep, there we go. Hamilton into the pit lane. Nico Hülkenberg as well following in. So a couple of cars deciding to have to pit. And Stroll's picked up a 5-second time penalty for that. I don't think that's going to make much difference, funnily enough, as, yeah, quite a few cars actually towards the rear of the field are going to be peeling into the pit lane as well. But yeah, Lance Stroll out of the Grand Prix and with a 5-second penalty. Not really sure, you know, he should get punished for that mistake, I'll be completely honest. But how are our pit stops looking? 2.7 for Bottas. It's been a bit of a disastrous stop there. Zhou Guanyu as well is going to get slowed down because of it. 4 seconds, 5 seconds almost there on the pit stop, so that's been a bit of a nightmare. And we're down into P17 and P19 then, so we've lost even more places in all of that. Let's have a look exactly what it was. Which wheel could they not get off? Which wheel? Doesn't look like we've had any issues with any of the wheels, but
so unfortunate for the team.
Just could not get the car going again. Don't know what that was all about. Right, safety car in then at the end of this lap. So we are going to have a lot of spare fuel to try and use throughout the rest of the afternoon. 43 laps on a set of hard compound tyres. I'm not convinced we're going to be able to get these through to the end of the GP. It was kind of just a wait and see if we can mix it up with some of the higher runners there. There's plenty of cars now out of position as we're about to go green flag racing once again. Our first safety car restart here on F1 Manager as Perez is going to lead the way at the front of the field, and Sergio of course can dictate whenever he wants to go. Make sure I've got both cars on neutral. Still not going to try and use too much battery off the restart. We're going to try and wait and see as to how things pan out here and really just focus on our own race at the moment rather than trying to battle it out with too many other cars. But yeah, it looks like a good clean tidy start then by everyone at the front of the field. Leclerc ahead of Sainz there, Verstappen down to P4 ahead of Alonso and George Russell. But yeah, our cars there still in 17th and 19th place. But yeah, we're really just going to try and use a bit of extra fuel and really just try and focus on the long game. As soon as I say that, though, Nick de Vries clearly wants to get on with it. He's on a set of mediums, though, so not really too surprising. As, yeah, de Vries trying to look around the outside. Bottas is going to defend it, though, but through turn 2, the young AlphaTauri, well, see, he's not that young, is he? But the AlphaTauri driver will make it through. Nice, easy spot gain for him, but we're just trying to use a bit of battery, a bit of ERS as well there, just making sure that we hang close to the other cars. Zhou Guanyu already dropping back slightly behind his teammate. Hamilton making good progress, though, slowly picking up the spots once again. I think, yeah, really all we're trying to do, though, early on this afternoon is just make sure we stay in the DRS range of those cars in front of us. Obviously, all the front runners are going to have to start peeling into the pit lane fairly soon, so maybe we might get one of the cars inside the top 10 for a couple of laps somewhere, but yeah, not convinced we'll be able to get to the end of the race on this set of tyres, but, you know, this place, as we said, absolutely perfect for a safety car. I just have to keep using the battery every once in a while to make sure that we stay with those cars in front. But yeah, everyone else is definitely going to have to pit at least once more. It's whether, I mean, we could theoretically potentially try and stretch it, but I'm not optimistic. Zhou Guanyu actually with a bit between his teeth has moved his way past Valtteri Bottas then. He pretty much spent the entirety of Bahrain losing places, so Bottas, to be fair to him, has basically done that so far here in Saudi. But can we just work together, please, lads, and make sure that we continue to march forward? Oh, why are they battling so much with each other? I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to start telling one of them just to sit behind and not battle. Zhou Guanyu is the second car at the moment. Valtteri was quicker throughout the rest of the weekend so far, so I'm going to have to give Zhou the message, don't fight your teammate. Let Valtteri get on with it and just try and stay with him as best as possible here. We're already 3 seconds back by the end of lap 18, so we're still definitely not as quick as any of the other cars in race trim, but we've got to work together here, boys. You know, we've got to wait to see when other cars peel into the pit lane to hopefully give ourselves a rough idea of where we could be fighting. That being said, though, we might be able to get these tyres towards the end of the race. It could be quite close. There we go. George Russell is the first to blink, though, this afternoon. So where is the young British driver going to re-emerge in this race? He's going to be out ahead of us still. That's not particularly surprising. George Russell then heading back out into the circuit in P14. But, you know, there's a lot of other cars, though, a bit further back. If we can go long here, I'm kind of looking at that Albon. Sorry, no, it's not Albon, is it? It's, I think, Esteban Ocon at the front. It's only the Alpines there and one of the Haas cars of Magnussen. But, you know, potentially we could be out around near them, but it's then just a case of how well we can hang on later on. I tell you what, as we slowly are getting more and more cars into the pit lane, there's still got quite a few towards the front of the field that are trying to stretch these mediums out as far as they possibly can. They're Magnussen, Norris, Tsunoda, all into the pit lane. So these are sensibly, I think, the cars that we could be battling with, as effectively now we've done just over half the stint we'll need to on this set of mediums if we want to get them through to the end of the race. We are going to be quite a way clear of Lando Norris, at least if you're Valtteri Bottas there. Zhou Guanyu is going to be out ahead of him as well, by not by as much though. So points are sensibly, I don't think, still a possibility here. But we could upset a few other cars that we could have been squabbling with. This though, Ocon and Albon as well into the pit lane. I'm hoping we're going to see Oscar Piastri in, as Norris clearly has got the jump on Zhou Guanyu. So Bottas then is going to come out right next to Alex Albon in this race. Hopefully he's going to get the jump on him. Yes, he is there. Albon a little bit hesitant on pit lane exit. So back to P13 then, where we were at the start of the race. But I think if we can get these tyres another 6 laps or so, then we might have to go a set of softs and really just push towards the end, as clearly that's what Haas are trying to do. Can they do 20 laps on a set of softs? That seems brave. Here comes Alex Albon though, DRS now enabled, and I don't think Bottas is going to try and make it too difficult for him as we head down the back straight, in air quotes there. Albon down the inside he'll go, and back up then into P13. Zhou Guanyu just trying to hang on ahead of Logan Sargent at the moment, but yeah, Bottas, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'm hoping need to get Zhou off of the don't fight teammate there, as one Alfa Romeo has been jumped by Williams, and it looks like the other one is about to meet the same fate there, as Sargent trying to have a look. I'm not able to do anything though, but yeah, I'm going to try and get both drivers just start pushing on these tyres a bit more. We may as well over the next couple of laps before we get ready to dive into the pits. There we go. Bottas has overtaken Piastri again, so clearly they're still locked into a battle as we head down in towards the final couple of corners. Big dive bomb there up the inside of Piastri, who I don't think has pit yet in this race. I think, yeah, Oscar Piastri there. I don't know why he's still hanging out on the tyres that he's on, but Bottas makes the move. Lando Norris now is going to make the move as well, as Sargent has finally found a way around Zhou Guanyu. But yeah, another 3-4 laps, and then we'll get both cars in onto softs. Well, things are all getting a little bit weird then at the moment. Nico Hülkenberg has pit again onto yet another set of soft compound tyres there. Bottas has got a little bit of a margin over Logan Sargent behind him, but now I think is the time we're going to try and get him to box onto that set of the softs to see him through to the end of the GP. We'll bring in Zhou one lap after that. Apparently, the rumour I've heard is the game actually you're quicker the warmer your tyres are, despite the fact they're overheating inside F1 Manager. So not too sure how that's going to affect things here. But yeah, Bottas going to peel into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Zhou Guanyu, we're going to dive him in one lap afterwards. So, I mean, I don't think the strategy's really screwed us. I think just ultimately we haven't had the pace here. But it's whether, you know, we can still be around Piastri and De Vries by the end. Ride with Valtteri Bottas, though, as he heads into the pit lane. Lap 37 of 50 here. I'm hoping we aren't going to get lapped this afternoon, as soon as Zhou Guanyu has gone past pit lane entry, we will confirm him onto a fresh set as well there, so that's good to know for him. We're going to let Bottas continue to push, though, on this set, as it looks like he's going to be quite close with Oscar Piastri heading out of pit lane, so clearly both teams have really tried to go long on this strategy. But 12 laps, what is the gap to Nick De Vries as we head out of pit lane? Going to be about 10 seconds, 9 seconds, so let's go for it. And Zhou Guanyu has actually just lost the place to Nick De Vries as well then, so De Vries into... Is De Vries pitting? No, De Vries isn't pitting then at the end of 38, so Zhou Guanyu is going to be into the pit lane then. I mean, Bottas is taking time out of him, hand over fist at the moment, so Bottas doing very well early on off this restart in air quotes, new stint I should really call it. But could we see Piastri under pressure from Zhou Guanyu towards the end? I'm not convinced. The thing that's worrying me with Zhou Guanyu is the fact he's about to go a lap down to Max Verstappen here quite late on in the day. I don't know if the Dutchman needs to pit again. No, Max Verstappen has really just utilised the strategy very well here. And has been able to jump past Perez and a whole fleet of other cars there. Perez is on fresher tyres towards the end of the race, but looks like, I think, at the moment, Verstappen has got it all under control at the front of the field. Pretty much everyone, again, on a set of the soft compound tyres there. So quite clear that the hard tyres were not the way to go this afternoon. But Bottas 2 seconds behind Nick De Vries. Zhou Guanyu 3 seconds behind Piastri. So it is not over. And Logan Sargent now really starting to struggle on his tyres. 6 laps to go of the race. And now, surely, they're going to be able to try and put a move on the Williams there. Sargent weaving this way and that, but he's not going to give it up just yet there, as he's actually going to be able to defend from Bottas as well as we head down in through the fast chicane towards the end of the lap. I mean, there's so many fast chicanes around here. You can really argue pretty much the entirety of Sector 1 is fast chicanes as well, but we need to try and find a way past Logan Sargent there. Bottas almost into the back of him through the final corner. Are we going to be able to try and get a run out of this final turn? We're going to use the battery. He's going to go left and then back over to the right. Back left again on Logan Sargent as he keeps trying to move around there. He's now trying to have a look down the inside of De Vries as we get back in towards turn 1 as Bottas down the inside of Logan Sargent there. Fantastic little move in towards the first corner. Got the car slowed down beautifully, and surely he's going to have the inside line off the exit there, and now up into P16 once again. And hopefully, if we stay with him, going to be able to try and find a move on Nick De Vries as well. There is the Alfa Tower, you can see, just wiggling around a little bit more, and I'm sure he will want at the moment. Zhou still 3 seconds back behind Oscar Piastri. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get close to him right towards the end of the race, but I want to see if Bottas can remain on the lead lap here. He's tucked up behind that Alfa Tower. Once again, we're going to try and get on the deploy. You know, we want to get this move done and maybe get up to Yuki before this race is down and out there. P14, with everything that's happened, would probably not be too bad of a result, all things considered here. So, I mean, yeah, De Vries, he's got no DRS to defend himself. Surely this one is going to be a bit of an easier move than it was on Sargent just 1 lap ago. But again, we just have got no straight line speed here in the car at the moment, as hopefully we're going to be able to try and find something down in towards the final couple of corners. The problem is we've got next to no battery left either, as we try and have a look to the inside of Nick de Vries again. How is that Alfa Tauri car so quick down the straights? Bottas, though, will finally get to the inside there and will now move up into P15 of the GP. 2.5 seconds to go to Yuki Tsunoda, sorry. Zhou Guanyu, I think, is really starting to struggle right towards the end, but we just need to try and break free from Nick de Vries there, who's trying to look back down the inside at turn 1. Bottas needs to defend this from him. We do not want to lose the spot, which we won't. Bottas gets the elbows out. You'd love to see it. 5 laps to go. Well, Max Verstappen then about to start the last lap of the GP, and I just want to make sure that Bottas doesn't get lapped here. That's my big goal at the moment, but it doesn't look like the Finn has got any extra fuel anymore. I've drained the battery on Zhou Guanyu's car as well to see if we can get him any closer to Oscar Piastri, but there we go. Actually, he's got to him finally then, right towards the end of the GP, so let's see what's going to be possible as we start the penultimate lap then. I know, sorry, it will be the final lap, won't it, for Zhou Guanyu, of course. Oh, that was scary. Almost into the back of Oscar Piastri down into turn 1. But we are going to have to try and make sure that we time the run out of the back straight there. We don't want to finish last with Zhou Guanyu again, though. We want to at least try and get Oscar Piastri. It is very much a consolation prize, but a consolation prize that I'm absolutely happy to take here. Bottas still hasn't been lapped by Max Verstappen, so I'm trying to keep my eye on that, but to be honest, I don't think that's going to make much difference on the final lap of this GP. But what are we going to be able to do with Zhou Guanyu? It is a last lap battle here. It's for P18, it's for the wooden spoon, but I'm going to try and hype up a last lap battle nonetheless, as we're going to try and get him onto the deploy, ready for the back straight. Just drain everything, drain the battery, use everything out of the tyres, drain the tank as well. As you can already see there, the kind of slingshot that Zhou Guanyu is able to get on Oscar Piastri. Open up the DRS as early as we possibly can there, but again, he's not going to be able to find anything. We've got to leave it in deploy. I'm not even going to bother trying to save it for a couple of seconds there. Are we going to be able to try and get a run in towards the final corner of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here? Zhou Guanyu versus Oscar Piastri. He's going to go left, he's going to go right. The two former Formula 2 rivals going at it, but Oscar Piastri, just like he was able to in FIA Formula 2, he is going to be able to hang on as we head out of the final corner. Bottas did in fact get lapped right at the end there, so that's a little bit heartbreaking as well. But it is P15 and P19 there, as Max Verstappen will take the win. Another Red Bull 1-2 there ahead of both Ferrari cars as well. But another tough race, but we're making slowly but surely steps in the right direction.
And among the drivers returning now is Charles Leclerc. Well, Max Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record.
That gives them their first win of the season, and it was really well deserved.
And finally now, the drivers can relax after an eventful weekend at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So then, Karun, in terms of the Alfa Romeo team, how will they be feeling after that?
They did okay today, I'd say. I mean, we're talking about such a competitive field, and all things considered, the drivers did all right.
Okay then, and a big thank you to everyone for joining us this weekend here in Jeddah.
And for the next round, Formula 1 is heading down under. Exciting times ahead in Australia on the shores of the Albert Park Lake.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and Max Verstappen will take the win ahead of Sergio Perez there. 6 seconds clear, and the only driver to get under a 1 minute 30 lap time when all is said and done. A full host of 26 points for the Dutchman. Both Ferraris, like we said, P3 and P4 ahead of Alonso, who beats out Russell there. Ocon ahead of Gasly, Magnussen, and despite that incident for Lewis Hamilton, still able to recover for a solitary point come the end of the race. Albon P12 ahead of Norris and Tsunoda. Bottas, Nick de Vries, Sargent, Piastri and Zhou Guanyu means Drivers' Championship. Perez still 5 points clear of his teammate. Charles Leclerc now ahead of Carlos Sainz as well. There with Alonso with his second P5 in a row. Hamilton still ahead of Russell, who gets his first points on the board. They're tied with Ocon and Gasly in P7. Stroll down to 10th ahead of Magnussen and Hulkenberg. And still, yeah, both McLarens, both Williams, both Alfa Tauris, and both Alfa Romeos unable to get points on the board. Still means constructors, we are in last place there. We need to try and get a big result to jump AlphaTauri there. It could be a battle of countback between AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo and Williams as the season goes on there, as Red Bull once again extending their lead at the top of the constructors. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourselves subscribed, and we'll be back very, very soon when Formula 1 returns to the land down under. We'll be back very, very soon, ready for the Australian Grand Prix.